Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Womansplain, and thank you for listening as always. Please email us at womansplainpod1@gmail.com for any questions, comments, suggestions on what you guys want to hear us talk about. And this week, we'll be discussing the intricate world of luxury hospitality, the role of PE, and how there's a lot of acquisitions within this space.
Yeah, absolutely. So generally in the high-end world of luxury and hospitality, I mean, private equity has always had an interest in it. And, in fact, Chiltern, which is the investment arm of LVMH, pretty much was created based upon that. But I think what a lot of people don't know is that, LVMH is just a huge conglomerate. And they own literally everything. Mm-hmm. And they also have an extremely diversified, investment portfolio, which obviously, starting with their letters, they own Moet, obviously Louis Vuitton, Hermes, but pretty much every designer you can think of, honestly, is owned by LVMH, plus other sort of luxury, beverage, food, brands, etc. And is just a huge conglomerate generally.
Yeah. And I think, as you mentioned, people don't really know about the non-fashion brands that they have. They have many, many maisons that they manage. And something that's very topical is that LVMH recently, earlier this week, acquired a famous Parisian bistro, Chez L'ami Louis. So that's been very famous. It's a classic bistro, and it's been around since 1924. It's honestly a pretty interesting and strategic type of acquisition. We'll go into how this isn't their first, rodeo with luxury hospitality. But this is a classic Parisian restaurant that is independent. So really excited to see what they're going to do with it. I have a few ideas, but I think this really is starting this whole boom of these luxury brands in fashion, and things that aren't really in food to go into acquiring these, hotels, restaurants, bars. Yeah,
absolutely. I love that LVMH is just digging into what we've called before the experiential economy. Mm-hmm. And, I think very true to itself. They had, during their anniversary a few years ago, they had the huge Louis Vuitton, exhibit in New York, which was amazing. And they focused on their trunks because, from a history perspective, that's how Louis Vuitton started, right? They were trunks and luggage, and they were actually a men's brand. And I love how they acquired, Chez L'ami. It's so old school Louis Vuitton. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? Louis Vuitton is not trendy. It's traditional, right? And you see a Louis bag and it's never a no. It's always a yes, but it's also never on the cutting end. Yeah. But I think they really lean into that. And I love how they're leaning into that with buying probably the most iconic restaurant in Paris. Right. Everyone knows what it is. Yeah. If you are tourist in Paris, you go. I went. I've been twice. And I love it. And it is a great branding choice. And I think they're really kind of leaning into this heritage, mm-hmm. history. We are the classic sort of roll up. Mm-hmm. And they've made so many other acquisitions, but I love this sort of, it's almost like a trophy acquisition. Mm-hmm. In all honesty, it's look that we own this incredible thing. It's owning the Champs-Elysees. And I think too, obviously they're high-end luxury clients love to go to a place like this. And they also would love to, have potential either branding, marketing dinners, mm-hmm. New acquisition targets, all there. They're going to have every branding event in Paris ever at this place. And it is actually really smart in terms of that. Yeah. I don't know necessarily how profitable it is for them, but I think it's just it literally is a way to just really enhance their brand and what they're trying to go for, which is awesome.
Yeah. And they actually did something very similar a couple of years ago. The heir to the CEO invested in the revival of La Perouse. It's in Saint-Germain in Paris. And they partnered with this really famous chef and restaurateur. His name is Benjamin Patou. They revived this cafe, and they opened a bunch of new cafes in Paris as well. The other one is in the Raffles Hotel in London. And so they've done this before. So I think this new acquisition, that might be the way that they're going in terms of, keeping Chez L'ami as the traditional type of Parisian restaurant, but maybe have, a cafe that they can bring clients to for coffee, like just down the street from their office. Maybe, a bakery or any other type of like a restaurant within the country and beyond too.
Yeah.
So I think that's super interesting. And they actually acquired the Belmond back in 2018 for $3.2 billion. And so it's a brand of hotels. They also like own like luxury like cruises and a lot of these different type of hospitality assets. And a famous hotel is the Hotel Cipriani in Venice. So that's a Belmond hotel.
Okay. Do they own all the Ciprianis?
I don't know. I know it's that one.
Okay, probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I think for them, as they did that because they wanted to really focus on the experiential. When you go to one of these hotels, you're like, okay, I'm at an LVMH type of property. And they did something similar with Cheval Blanc.
Yeah.
That's their own type of hotel brand. And it's a juxtaposition of owning the Belmont, which is very traditional, very luxury, high-end. When you think LVMH, you think Cipriani. Cheval Blanc, also very similar, but more modern because they own it and it's their brand. They're able to really change the marketing and just really work with what's happening in the market and being more modern and then be appealing to more of the younger customer.
Totally. I feel like they feel like The Edition. When you walk into those, they're like very similar vibes. So like The Edition does that too, where it's like it's extremely like, an Edition when you walk into an Edition anywhere in the world. It's super white and it smells amazing and it's like very modern, which is great. And that's also like very much experiential branding as well, which we like love to see that. And I think it's really representative of, what LVMH sees as what is luxury and like their bespoke sort of, idea of luxury too. And it's interesting to see how they manage both like Belmond and Cheval Blanc, which are very different. And then also buying Chez L'ami, it's like literally three completely different areas, but it's also what they've defined as what is luxury. And in all honesty, like if you think of luxury, you think of LVMH. They own basically everything. Yeah. I mean, their main competitor roll up is Kering. They own Gucci, they own other stuff, I think D&G, but they are not nearly as premier as LVMH is. And like they have sort of cherry picked what they define as luxury in all these different markets. And I think, purchase like Cheval Blanc is definitely for like the younger, trendier person. Belmond is for more like the traditional consumer. Yeah. And that's also representative of their portfolio as well. And, Belmond also has a pretty like interesting portfolio itself. And which is awesome.
Yeah.
And
I agree. And I mean, I'm really excited about this acquisition. As of course, like people don't really know that LVMH obviously has Moet, Hennessy. And so having their own like alcohol line will also help with getting into the more restaurant scene.
Oh yeah, I love that. I mean, I think like their relationships are going to be incredible. They'll probably like use that as a great promotion tool. And I wonder, I will love to see too how they expand their alcohol portfolio as well. We'll see if they maybe add on more like luxury alcohols, if it's going to be more diverse range of what you can provide. Because of course, like restaurants need more like, diversity. Will they like enter in basically a new beverage market? Will they have, I don't know, a seltzer? Will they have something specific? Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I think they'll build a culinary empire.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We'll have an LVMH
It'll be so fun. I'll go to a Louis Vuitton restaurant. Yeah. Is there one? Like, let's go. I mean, there should be if there's not. Yeah. I think there's a Louis Vuitton hotel. I think, like, where it's, like, literally all Louis Vuitton, which would be sick. Like, in San Tropez or something. Yeah. I swear to God, I, like, looked at it once and I was like, oh, my God, we should go.
Yeah. I mean, with, like, Tiffany's, too. Like, Tiffany's on Fifth Ave in New York City, there's that Blue Box restaurant on top of it.
So beautiful. Yeah. Literally impossible to get reservation. I've been trying forever.
Impossible.
So cute. I mean, I think, like, and, customers do really love, like, the experience because maybe not everyone can afford Tiffany's, but you can't afford to go to the Tiffany's Blue Box. And, like, you can really get that feeling of just, honestly, the same idea of, like, that customer service of what, like, what they give you at Louis Vuitton, what they give you at Tiffany's. It's like that is the same touch.
Right.
And, you know, that's obviously throughout hospitality as well. You know, I think it's so interesting. You know, for example, like Ritz-Carlton, they have such a specific way of training their employees, right? And they've actually commercialized that where tons and tons of like literal sales people at like all the companies get trained by Ritz-Carlton employees and a Ritz-Carlton sales trainer of like literally you can be selling, you know, popsicle sticks and you have learned what it means to be good in customer service. And they have like actually like their founder has a huge just like idea around what employees are.
Yeah.
And they say like there's basically, you know, a top like 10% that are like doing amazing. There's like a middle point that are doing fine. Then there's like a bottom 18% that you need to cut immediately. And that's sort of his entire philosophy. And like it's around attitude and treatment of customers. And so like literally that idea of customer service and luxury defines Ritz-Carlton, right? Like you walk into a Ritz and you have the absolute best customer service. And I think that's sort of what the experiential like economy is trying to do.
Right.
It's like it's giving luxury to people who can't necessarily purchase it, which is why, you know, like Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's have long-term customers.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, you know, speaking of that and like other high-end hotels, I think the Aman Resorts is something we have to speak about in their expansion.
They did really, really well. It was founded in the late 80s, 1988.
Cool.
And then it was bought by this Russian real estate investor.
Of course.
And he, Vlad something.
Gotta love Vlad.
Vlad Dorodin. And he really revolutionized what the Aman could be. So he really expanded within geographies, made it a very specific feeling. When you walk into Aman, no matter where you are, it's that exact same customer service, as you mentioned, same feeling, same smell, really made it uniform so that you know that you're walking into this place where you know, quote unquote, belong if you've been there before. So I think the Aman's doing really, really well with that. Of course, they're expanding, not just within more like remote areas, which they used to be. Now, the New York one opened a few years ago. There's this one in Tokyo that's going to open, and they're rebranding it, and it's called Janu.
Okay.
They actually just opened, I think, a few months ago in like April 24. And this is meant to be more focusing on wellness for more of like the younger audience. So it's like a little bit cheaper, aka it's like still like $2,000 a night, but it's not like $4. So they're really experimenting in terms of keeping their brand, but trying to appeal to a different type of customer demographic.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Aman has expanded so much in recent years. I mean, I had heard of it by like one person before. I think like before, honestly, probably 2014. Or like I feel like they had one like main like resort in like Colorado or something.
Yeah.
But like that was like its initial like thing, and it was like this crazy thing. And now it's like really now it's really expanding. And obviously it's the private club in New York as well, like a new membership area. They in like honestly like touching younger consumers that maybe are like coming up, I guess, the chain, which is probably an interesting way to do the membership club too, like, you know, around business, work, relationships, etc. And I'm touching the same idea of like, you know, what is luxury to the consumer today? And I think Aman is really kind of redefining that.
Yeah.
Where like LVMH is doing a variety of things, but they're also keeping sort of what luxury has always been. So it's like they, you know, yes, they do have like Cheval Blanc and they have like things that do feel modern, but they're also making like a huge statement of buying like the most classic bistro in Paris, and stating like this is luxury to us. So it's like, yes, maybe there are new definitions, but honestly, like what has always been will always be.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. While Aman is extremely modern and definitely disruptive.
Yeah.
So like that's definitely like a different strategy. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, and I think like kind of similar, you know, obviously private equity has always had interest in hospitality, obviously, you know, et cetera, and ownership of general, you know, hotels and brands. But for example, Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles, I feel like we have to talk about too when we talk about luxury.
Yeah. And, you know, all of these hotels really are doing well because they are more exclusive. There's a lot of celebrities that go to these type of restaurants and also stay at these hotels when they're traveling. Chateau Marmont, very iconic in LA. Anna Delvey was staying there until she got caught when she wasn't paying. And so definitely a very historical and iconic type of building.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, like, at the end of the day, it's a hotel. You're going to sleep there. But I think a lot of these brands, what they're doing well is having that allure of exclusivity and just having it integrated into your everyday life. So you can come to the Chateau Marmont and then eat at the restaurant, which is an amazing restaurant.
Yeah.
You don't have to leave the hotel, go to the spa. Everything is integrated. Very similar to Chiltern Firehouse in London. Chiltern, Firehouse in
which we're going to go
London,
to, which I'm very excited.
Which we're going to go to. We're going to get brunch there. Food's going to be great. But yeah, that too, like, they really invested in having a really high quality restaurant so that people, when they're dining or lodging there, can just go to the restaurant and have everything integrated.
Yeah, and I think Chateau Marmont is just like epic and iconic. I feel like it's literally from old Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like the amount of celebrities who stay there, you know, it's like everyone from the Marilyn Monroe era.
Yeah.
I mean, probably herself. The amount of celebrity drama in that old Hollywood era, it's just like you can't beat it. You can't beat that level of history. And I think especially in LA, when you like walk in, you just feel star-studded.
Yeah.
And you're just
It's
like
a landmark.
it's literally a landmark.
Yeah.
And like you can't get over it. You can't get over it. And it's still so stunning. And so I love that, you know, that's continuing. And like that idea of just you don't have to leave here and we will take care of you, I think is just like the epic sort of hospitality. Like this is like, yes, you pay for like this high-end experience.
Yeah.
But this high-end experience is so inclusive. You're treated so well. Your service is going to be amazing. Like you walk in here and you don't have to think about it is like absolutely what they sell. And Chateau Marmont specifically, I think sells that sort of iconic experience in St. Michel and Me. So it's great. And generally, you know, I think private equity's interest in luxury has probably been old, but there definitely have been some, you know, great deals. Obviously, in the Four Seasons, it's seen substantial growth. Continue like based on from when it got bought by Cascade, and Prince Ali bin Talal's Kingdom Holding Company as well, and obviously the acquisition of Waldorf Astoria. But that's also another, like, the Waldorf was iconic. Absolutely iconic. I mean, and especially, you know, we love the Hilton family, very storied. I love Paris as well. But I mean, the history of the Waldorf too is just so old New York. It's the same thing. It's like, you know, it's a Chateau Marmont of here, but that's also, it's been remodeled and completely redone. So that was interesting. So the Waldorf sort of like lost its luster, got purchased and like redone. So that's really interesting. And now it's sort of like re-entering the scene. But has absolutely it just really needed that. I mean, I think the last time I went to a Waldorf, it definitely felt like it just needed a remodel, even though it's still incredible.
So gorgeous.
Incredible.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think a lot of these PE dollars are going to help these hotels expand geographically, also get remodeled, etc. Like the Four Seasons, for example, what you were saying about the Ritz, same type of thing. Every single Four Seasons is like kind of looks the same.
Totally.
They have the same toilet paper.
Yep.
It's just like the quality is ingrained, and for something to be maintained for years and years and years, like you need some kind of capital, and a lot of the PE money is going to help with that. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, hotels got wrecked too. I mean, obviously it's just, you know, they're, especially high-end luxury hotels, just get really hurt in really hurt in downturns. And I think like the Hilton family went through a lot of like sales, purchases, resales, whatever. And they own so many things. And like Hilton has been bought and sold, 50 times and divested. But just because the hotel business is really hard. And also like it is extremely trends driven, which is, and obviously extremely volatile with the market as well, the pandemic, but this was pre-pandemic too. And so like it is, honestly, PE money is necessary to keep some of these like beautiful icons alive, which I think is why, there are hotels that have had staying power despite, market issues. And it is interesting now to see like kind of these new players on the scene competing with it. I think membership clubs are trying to do the same thing, but everyone is trying to sort of provide that, incredible experience, get people to pay for it.
And I wonder with LVMH purchasing the Belmond and similar type of acquisitions moving forward, I wonder if that's going to be kind of the future of luxury hospitality. Like, will Saks buy a hotel or something? I know they like have that restaurant, L'Avenue and Saks. And if we're talking about being integrated with the rest of your lifestyle, like that's a good brand to maybe reach out to reach out to hospitality. I mean, absolutely. I mean, like department stores have been totally wrecked. So if they're trying to revitalize, it's not a bad idea. I mean, certainly not a bad idea. And I think it has been like the new way for
a lot of sort of, I guess, more traditional luxury, luxury providers to enter the scene. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that is really the future of restaurants as well. I mean, I think we talked about this where like there are obviously these huge like food groups, like major food group, etc. It's like, well, major food group go open a hotel. Maybe. Like honestly, not out of the picture at all. Not out of the options.
Right.
And like more of these experiential, options that are focusing on, I mean, Equinox has a hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, I think true. They're in the same vein where they really try to define luxury too, in like terms of wellness. And obviously they opened, Electric Lemon, the restaurant. They've opened some other restaurants around. Also another one too is RH.
Oh, yes.
Like they have restaurants everywhere, and they have like super trendy, great restaurants everywhere.
Very trendy.
And I feel like Restoration Hardware too is like, it's expensive, don't get me wrong, and it's beautiful, and like I love everything in there, but it's not like it's not extraordinarily high end, right? It's not like insanely preventatively expensive. It's preventatively expensive for most people, but like if you're like a high income, like not crazy wealthy person, you can purchase things there. And it's really like targets like couples. That's why they have the restaurant there, because they're like, oh, like we need couples to stop fighting in furniture stores. And so they're like, okay, you can come here like on a date. Like it's like more of an experience. Right. You have like a burger, you have some wine, like maybe you buy something on the way out. Yeah. Like it's honestly more of a destination and a lifestyle. And so like that's really interesting that they've done that. Maybe they open like a hotel. Yeah. I mean, and even like the Four Seasons has obviously commercialized in terms of like, they sell their robes and stuff online. So, I mean, I think all of these brands have like opportunity to expand into hospitality and what that hospitality means, and what luxury means to their clients as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot that can be done here.
Yeah.
And we'll see what the future holds.
Absolutely. And maybe, P buys out Equinox. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. We'll see, honestly. Well, thanks so much for listening. As always, email us, womansplainpod1@gmail.com if you have any questions or thoughts on the luxury hospitality market. And thanks so much for listening. See you next week.
Thanks.